Some people believe and want you to believe that you shouldn't be paying off low interest loans like the mortgage on your house, that you should rather be investing that money into stocks, into mutual funds. Because in the long term, the value of those investments is higher than the interest on your mortgage. That you shouldn't pay off your mortgage, instead you should be investing. But engineers who do real option calculations and mathematicians who do probability calculations, they look at the world differently. I'm going to do the best I can to tell you this, and I'm quite interested that did you get anything out of this. So if you are thinking that you shouldn't pay off your mortgage, that you should rather invest, because in the future it will grow higher than the interest, well then, you are thinking about the future like an ordinary person. You see, an ordinary person thinks about the future based on what they think and what they believe will happen in the future. But engineers and mathematicians, they look at it differently. And this is the key. They look at the world based on the amount of future outcomes. They look at the world based on the amount of possible future outcomes. You see, that's what I described, that you should be investing instead of paying off debt. Well, that is only one possible future outcome. Because another possible that is more than likely and will happen in the future is that at some point the economy is going to go down. There will be recessions, depressions, unemployment, you name it. So one possible outcome that is more than likely to happen is, well, how will you feel then if you didn't pay off your mortgage and you invested? And then the economy goes down. And now your net worth also starts to go down. And the value of your house might also go down. Well, then you might think that, but hey, that's okay, because the stocks will bounce back and they will make more money in the long term. So it's okay that the value of stock prices go down. But that is assuming that your income is not under threat. That you don't have to fear losing your job, because if you do, then it will be a different story. You see, the thing is that debt is always a risk and an obligation. You see, one possible future outcome is that you will be forced to sell off your assets at a discount. Because let's say if you have a house, a summer cabin, or is that a Finnish thing, I don't know, and you have money on stocks, on mutual funds. Well, if the stocks go down and the value of your house goes down, well then one possible outcome is that you will be forced to sell off your stocks or your summer cabin at a discount because the economy went down. Oh, and by the way, this scenario is actually, it fits into that original assumption that yes, in the long term, 20, 30 years, the value of your investments is higher than the interest on your loans. Well, that, what I just said, the economy goes down, still fits into that original assumption. Because debt is always a risk and an obligation. And what you want your wealth portfolio to be so-called weatherproof, that no matter how stormy the economy gets, your wealth, you will be able to handle it. And that is called having a weatherproof wealth portfolio. And that is in everyday people's language. In the language of engineers and mathematicians would say that you are minimizing the amount of negative outcomes to you. That, of course, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing a portion of your income into mutual funds, into building your own wealth, you should. It just means that while you are investing, you want to put any extra money into paying off your mortgage, because it minimizes the risk of negative future outcomes. And some may argue against this, that you should be taking on debt because if there's inflation, for instance, then that inflation will be paying off your debt for free. And yes, that is one possible future outcome. But still, debt is always a risk that increases the amount of negative possible future outcomes. But when you have paid off your debt, then there are no negative outcomes in the sense that, well, if the economy goes up, yes, you will have a lower net worth based on when compared to the person who did invest. But still, when you have paid off your house, you don't have that risk anymore. And not having the risk on your mortgage allows you to take more risk, let's say, on your career and business life. But the point is that you wish to minimize the amount of possible future outcomes. And that is what separates ordinary people from engineers and mathematicians. An ordinary person looks at the world based on what they believe and think will happen. But engineers and mathematicians, they look at the world based on the amount of possible future outcomes. And that was the point of this video. For this is Radio Heikkala. Thank you.